Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final call for the first prize winner of the raffle. It's each ticket is 176. If you do have that ticket, please make your way back to the raffle table where you bought your ticket from. Each ticket is 176.
Okay. come back down here. Look.
Mum, do you know them people, are they? People from the... And the cubby!
Signed the book, Story of a Manchester, joint author of that book, and it's taking the history of the Lancaster that's here and it's 611 Just Jane. And those are on sale inside the hangar as well.
And basically, they are a group called Summer of 44, and they come and don't just do RAF, they do lots of other things as well, but today they're RAF, so they're the superior force, of course. Sorry, Army people out there who's going to beat me up afterwards. But basically, the first talk we're going to do is talk about armoury and the bombing up of the Lancaster. The following talks will be inside the hangar. We'll be taxiing Jane at 3 o'clock again. And then there'll be another talk at 4:15. That'll be in the hangar, just inside the hangar door on this right-hand side. And then there'll be another one at 6:15. And that's a really good talk. That's done by Neil, and it's on escape and evasion, which is very, very interesting. Is that right, Neil? Yes, you're going to talk. You're going to talk. So, first of all, just to introduce you, obviously this is actually a Mark 7 Lancaster. Now the critical thing is to take a big look into that bomb bay. You can see that bomb bay there, okay, you can see how high it is off the ground, okay, and it creates quite a significant number of problems. The Lancaster basically was a flying bomb bay. The reason this is possibly the aircraft that lost the most crew members is because they thought of the bombs first and the crew last. And what I mean by that is that on the drawing board they just drew a big cavity which was to carry the bombs, then they built the airframe around it, then they put the equipment in that the aircraft of course is full of, and then they said, oh yes, we need a crew to fly in it. And I'll just give you a couple of statistics that bring it to home. For every Lancaster that was shot down, less than 2 crew members survived, okay, and the average lifespan of a Lancaster was 40 hours, just 40 hours, okay. Over half of them were lost, okay, from the ones that were built, alright. So, we've got that big bomb bay, and basically what's so clever about the Lancaster is that the bomb bay is composed of 16 different sectors, okay, and each of those sectors has an electrical connection so that you can put a bomb or a cartridge that contains bombs into that sector. In the nose of the aircraft, right up there in the bomb aimers panel, you can actually see it through the window. Can you see the bomb aimers panel, the top left-hand side, that first panel has got lots of switches all in the upward position. Can you see that? Yeah? Just inside there on the left-hand side. And each one of those is what turns on, the switch that turns on that drop sector in the bomb bay. Okay? So just a big space. And of course, bombs were different sizes. You've got 4,000 pounders, 1,000 pounders, this is a 1,000 pounder just here. 250 pounders, okay, and of course you also have the boxes that carried the incendiaries. And Bomber Harris's favourite bomb load was one 4,000 pound blast bomb, okay, and 10,000 incendiaries, okay. The reason he particularly liked that bomb load was because the blast bomb went down, blew the roofs off, blew the doors in and the windows in, and the incendiaries all went down afterwards and dropped through those holes and set fire to everything. Now, how did we actually know that that was possibly the best bomb load to carry? Well, we actually asked the London firefighters after the Blitz and said, what caused you the most problems when you were bombing? And they said, basically, it's the incendiary bombs. We can put big blast bombs out, we can counteract that, even if we can't get water. But we can't catch every single little incendiary that lodges itself in the roof and sets fire to the rafters. Okay? So that's how they came about that being the most favoured bomb load. So, bombing up of a Lancaster. Well, first of all, the bomb is actually only that part, okay? That's the steel container that contains the explosive. But when it arrives at a Lancaster, it's actually been assembled into the drop component, okay? So when it's in the bomb dump, it's literally just these steel containers with the explosive just lying around, just literally outside. Sometimes they were locked in rooms, but mostly they were outside, okay, with winches round, so you can actually winch them up using the hook from the top there, okay. What would happen is that they would say, okay, tonight each Lancaster's going to have 8 1,000 pound bombs on board, okay. So they would winch all the bombs together, get these all together, okay, and then they would add to it, okay, various different components. Now, here is the explosive. Inside here is a fuse, okay? Now it's the fuse that's the dangerous part, okay? The fuse is concealed in here. Now can everybody see a little propeller at the back here? Can you see that? It's got a little propeller. That is the clever bit, okay? Because inside here is a rod that's connected to the tail fuse in this case, okay? Now afterwards, if you go into the hangar, look down the cabinets on the left-hand side and look at on the right-hand side, I beg your pardon, just inside the doors, have a look in there and you will see the bomb aimer's part, you'll see one of these pistols, okay, tail pistol, and it's still got the propeller on it, and it also has the safety hatch on, which says, please do not remove. Now as you can imagine, that these places are very, very windy, okay, airfields, and in fact it's a very, very mild day today, very, very windy. Now inside here, okay, is a fuse that has a propeller on it. So what you must do is remove that, and this rod, take the propeller off that fuse, and place this tail on, which has this propeller on here, because that is the propeller that's going to spin. Why is that the clever bit? Well, when these are dropped, as the bomb falls, this is the aerodynamic part, that of course makes it rotate as it's dropping, but that propeller spins, and what it does is slowly but surely drive the piston in the centre in to the bomb towards the detonator. When it hits the floor, the piston is only held on a very loose spring, so consequently hits the detonator and detonates the bomb. So what we must do at all costs is make sure that that doesn't spin while it's being driven across the airfield. Now you've all seen the bomb tractors and the bomb trailers, haven't you? Okay? And they not only, of course, were driven by the blokes, but they were driven by the women as well, the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, the WAF, okay? We've got a WAF over there who's trying to hide. There she is. Everybody look at her. Make her go red. Lee, get in here. Where's my other WAF? There's Shirley, the other WAF, trying to hide at the back there. Okay, having tea. So the WAFs, of course, drove these as well. Now, when the bomb is loaded onto the trailer, okay, it's loaded onto the trailer without the tail on, and it goes into a place called a fusing hut. And it's a one-way system in the bomb dump. Drives along, all the trailers are together, carrying all the bombs, and each bomb train carries the load for one Lancaster only, okay? You drive into the fusing hut from the rear, okay, and the trailers go through. Now we've met an armourer who said what I used to do was have the doors shut at both ends and just fuse one bomb at a time with nobody else inside there, because I wanted to concentrate, make sure I got this right, because obviously it's a very volatile thing once that fuse is in place, okay. So they put them, basically the pistol goes in, okay, and a safety catch is placed on the propeller. Now at the moment, the safety catch is in the back here. I've just pulled the safety catch out, so keep your eye on that propeller, okay? Make sure it doesn't start spinning. But what's placed instead of that is a carrier. Neil, will you do the honours, please, my friend? Now Neil's going to put a carrier. See, he's an armourer, so he's getting all angry with me because I pulled his safety pin out. This is a carrier, okay? Again, this is not kept on the Lancaster, but it's stored in the bomb dump and it's placed on the bomb, ready for the bombs to be taken over to the Lancaster. So when the bomb arrives at the Lancaster, it's completely ready to be winched on, okay? So it's putting the carrier on. Now at the rear of that is this cable, okay? Now Neil's adjusting the carrier now to fit the shape of the bomb. Obviously they were adjustable so you didn't have to have a carrier for each different type of bomb. And he's now going to take out that safety pin and place instead the safety pin that's actually on the carrier, which performs the same job. Thank you very much. Put that safe, make sure you don't lose it, and don't take it out again. Alright? So he's put that safe. So that's now safely locked in. So that bomb is now complete and ready to be loaded on board a Lancaster. So they are placed on those trailers, okay? That would leave the fusing hut looking like that, okay? And now be driven through that one-way system, so it goes out the front of the fusing hut, all the way along those tracks from the bomb dump, all the way to each of the dispersal pans where each of the Lancasters are parked, okay? It doesn't go straight into the front. They always drive around the rear of the Lancaster first and come back to the front. Once the bomb train gets to the front of the Lancaster, that's when the hard work really starts. Because they have to separate each trailer and one by one wheel the trailer underneath the bomb bay so that they can be winched on board. But again, the Lancaster is all about bombs. It's not about giving the crew or the ground crew an easy job. So there are no winches on board. They are all hand winched up, and that is a bomb winch, okay? That was carried on by two armourers through the rear crew door, where the taxi riders board and where the crew boarded before they went on a flight. That was carried on board, okay, and actually taken up inside, where they would remove a hatch in the floor of the bomb bay. Okay, yeah, I was going to have a go at the weight of that. It's not light at all, okay? Have a go at the weight of that. It really is heavy, okay? And that's carried on board, the hatch is opened, and as it's going past, if you can all see that cable that's sticking out at the back there, it's got a little ball on the end of it, can you all see that? That locates in that. So the cable and that ball come through the floor of the Lancaster's bomb bay, go down, the armourers below, hook that ball into that cable there, into that receiver, okay? And that is then ready to be winched up. And of course it's winched up, and now you can see why sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes they fell off and they dropped. You all right, mate? So it basically goes into there, like that, okay? It's an incredibly hard thing to carry, okay? And this is done for every bomb that goes into the bomb bay. Every single bomb that goes into the bomb bay is done and winched up with one of those winches. Believe it or not, towards the end of the war, they did actually have hydraulic lifts. And of course, bigger bombs were coming in. You've all heard about the 12,000-pounder tall boy. That's the bomb that sank the Tirpitz, okay? Well, capsized it, okay, but it still was out of action. And also the 22,000-pound Grand Slam. Now, the Grand Slams weren't dropped until January of 1945 for the first time, so it was virtually at the end of the war. But that meant that you had to get rid of the bomb bay, because those were slung outside. There wasn't room to actually close the bomb doors around it, okay? And you had to lose the mid-upper turret and the front turret as well to accommodate the weight of a 22,000-pounder. Standard bomb load for this is 18,000 pounds, so it's roughly 9 imperial tons, okay? So they are winched on board. Now, there is another bomb we have here, okay, which is quite an interesting one. It's not really a bomb, it's actually a flashball. It's what they call a photo flash flare. And this one is stowed either in the bomb bay or it's stowed at the back of the aircraft in a flare chute. Alright? I said pick it up and carry it around, Ramsey. Now this is a very clever thing, and all it's designed to do is illuminate the bomb target area with a massive phosphorus glow. It's actually magnesium. Okay, so it burns with a very bright white. You've all had to go with magnesium ribbon in science at school, yeah? This is what this consists of. And it goes off at 4,000 feet. It drops after the bomb load. It descends on a parachute, so it goes down more slowly than a bomb load, okay? And explodes at 4,000 feet, illuminating the target area. So inside the bomb aimer's area there, where that cylindrical perspex area is just there, is a camera. And that will take a photograph of where your bombs have exploded so that you can show the photo interpreters where your bombs have exploded. There was actually a thing called creepback, which was if your bombs were exploding before the actual aiming point, okay? If you did it once, you went to see the flight commander. If you did it twice, you went to see the station commander. And if you did it a third time, you weren't often seen again. So make sure you're not dropping your bombs before you should do. It was basically fright, okay? We've had enough of this, we've got to get out of there, okay? And so that drops. Now that will go off at 4,000 feet, whether it's left the Lancaster or not. So make sure it's left the Lancaster. And often the bomb aimer's job after he's, not the bomb aimer, I beg your pardon, the flight engineer, okay, will go back and double check the flare chute to make sure it's not in that flare chute, alright? The flare chute's the same one they used to drop window, okay, and also, of course, the propaganda out of, you know, earlier in the war. Not usually done by Lancasters, but usually done by other aircraft earlier in the war. And that is arming up of a Lancaster. Worst case scenario, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they decide they're changing the target and they want to change the bomb load, okay? So you've got to open the bomb doors. I didn't mention that the bomb doors, of course, whenever you see a black and white photograph, if the bomb doors are shut, the bombs are on board, okay? When they stop and they've got back from a raid, before they bombed up the next day, those doors would be open, okay? Bomb doors closed, it means they've got a full bomb load on board. Worst thing for the pilot is as you're landing, you feel that little bump as you land, and you think, what was that? And it's a bomb rolling around in the bomb bay. That, of course, who has to sort that out? The armourers. The armourers are responsible for that. There was a very dreadful accident here in April 1945, and it was on the far side of the airfield over there where we had another hangar just like this one, a T3, and there was a time delay fused bomb being loaded on board, a cookie, a 4,000 pounder, and as it was being bombed up, it dropped and broke the time delay fuse. Now, a time delay fuse consists of glass, which of course shatters on impact, and there is a rubber membrane inside that holds basically the pin back, okay, that detonating pin back, alright? And what happens is, the thicker that membrane is, the other side of it is a load of acid, and when the acid melts through it, it releases that pin and detonates the bomb. Fortunately, one of these dropped over there, and yet again, the armourers cleared the area, and the armourers were concentrating on getting this bomb off and making sure it was safe. Sadly, they didn't have enough time, and the resulting explosion killed 3 armourers. It also destroyed 5 Lancasters completely, because by this time they didn't used to park them on the dispersal bands because there weren't any raids coming over. It's April 1945. There are no Luftwaffe left, okay? So it destroyed 5 Lancasters completely in the explosion. There is a very famous photograph. The author of the book that this photograph is in is actually in the hangar there, Brian Goulding. Okay, Lancaster at War, Volume 1, 2 and 3. I think there's 5 volumes now. But go, have a look in that book and you will see armour-plated doors stoved in by the blast, because they managed to, of course, shut the hangar doors. And you can see the shape of the bomb blast in the hangar doors. It also damaged a further 11 Lancasters. Just that one single explosion for the 4,000 pounders. You can imagine how much of an explosion that is. The last thing I'm going to tell you is a story about this very Lancaster when she was a gate guard at RAF Scampton. Okay, she was outside Scampton for 10 years, all right, with a bouncing bomb, one of the Barnes Wallis bouncing bombs underneath it. Okay, as far as anybody was aware, there it sat in the summers, in the winters, underneath the nose of Just Jane before she was removed to bring her here. When they removed it, they removed that bomb. What did they find out? It was a live one. Okay, it wasn't actually a practice bomb. And I do say, if that had detonated at Scampton, okay, Lincoln Cathedral would have been damaged by the blast. So that's how, it's quite a few miles out of Lincoln, okay. Thank you ever so much for listening, okay. We're going to be taxiing at 3, another talk at 4:15, another talk at 6:15 by the superb Neil there, okay. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Nobody wants them. They're rubbish. Closing them down now, it's got a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's top two Sonic Street down, I've been looking up to see that flying around there. When you're on the ground,
And Ricardo. And Ricardo.
Okay. Focus a bit maybe so that oh, just keep your hands down.
Let me see.
No. points for